There is a specific way of talking that goes beyond her ears. It lands on her skin like a slow, purposeful touch moving down her spine. Most women are used to being called common names like baby or sweetheart, but when you use a different type of language, something changes. It feels like more than a simple label. It feels like a sudden flash of light. It feels like warmth moving through her. Her body leans in before her mind even realizes it. Once you learn how to use words this way, she will not just hear what you say, she will feel that you are right there with her. You do not need difficult tricks. You do not need magic spells or practiced lines. What you truly need is meaning that is honest. When a man speaks truthfully, at the perfect moment with a calm and steady sense of sureness, he does not just get noticed for a second. He stays in her thoughts. He does not only reach her logical mind, he reaches her body, her feelings, and her inner world. He becomes something she senses, something that remains softly present, something that does not vanish after a few minutes but stays alive in her memory. Let that thought settle inside you for a moment. Let it move with your breath. Somewhere along the way, you were likely told something that was not true. Someone probably said that to keep a woman's interest, you had to put on a show. They said you had to be smoother, cooler, funnier, or more confident than you really felt. They told you to hide the parts of yourself that felt too strong or too deep. You were given methods, little plans, clever moves, and ways of acting meant to look perfect on the outside. And yet, after all that work, you still wonder why it does not really work. Why, after trying so hard, do you still feel like she does not truly see you? Think about it for a bit. You have seen people who talk nonstop but leave no impact. They speak, yet no one really listens. Then there is someone else. She says very little, but when she finally speaks, the whole energy of the room shifts. People look up, they lean in, the mood changes, and everyone feels it. That is not some magic trick. It is not luck. It is a real skill. It is the power of someone who understands her voice and her inner drive. She does not rush. She does not guess. She speaks from her center, from a deeper place inside herself. That is exactly what we are looking at here. Before we go further, pause for just a second. If you are listening or watching, take whatever small action shows you are ready. Do it because you are tired of being ignored. If you have ever felt like you are doing everything right and she still does not truly notice you, then what comes next could be the change you have been waiting for. Imagine this. You are standing next to a quiet lake early in the morning. The surface of the water is smooth like glass. You bend down, pick up a small stone, and let it fall gently. Even that tiny rock sends ripples across the whole lake. That is what meaningful words do. They do not have to be loud, forced, or dramatic. They only need clear intent. They carry weight. They are quiet, but they continue to be felt long after you have walked away. But what do most men do instead? They grab large rocks. They throw them. They shout across the water. They make constant noise hoping something will stick. It does not. The answer is not in the number of words you throw out. It is not about how loud you are. It is about emotion, depth, and the feeling behind what you say. Here is something many people miss. The deeper mind, the place where real attraction starts, does not react to plain facts. It reacts to feeling. It responds to tone, rhythm, timing, presence, and hidden meaning. Carl Jung once said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will lead your life and you will call it fate. That idea does not only apply to personal growth, it applies directly to connection. A woman does not feel drawn to you because you explained yourself perfectly. She feels drawn when you wake up something inside her, something she cannot easily describe with words, something that brings you back into her thoughts when you are gone, something that skips logic and goes straight into memory. The problem is not that you are not trying hard enough. It is that you have been trying with the wrong method. You ask her how her day was. She says it was good. You ask what she does for work. She answers quickly, and then there is silence. Nothing stays. Why? Because your words did not go deep enough. They did not touch anything real. This is not because you failed. You were taught to perform, not to connect. You were taught to impress, not to move her. That can change right now. When you learn to speak with influence instead of noise, when you speak with emotional truth and the right timing, everything shifts. When you understand not only what to say, but how to say it, when to say it, and how to fully stand behind it, you stop fading into the background. You become noticeable without trying to be loud. You become felt because you are calm, steady, and present. People sense that. She senses that. In that space, you become someone she remembers. You do not need dozens of clever lines to start a connection. You do not need to talk all the time. What you need are a few words spoken with full presence, delivered in a voice that is relaxed yet firm. You need a quiet confidence, a kind of strength that makes a woman stop and silently think about who this man is. This is not just about dating. It is an art of being. It is not manipulation. It is a natural pull. It is emotional intelligence shown through flow and presence. When your words have a purpose instead of just filling silence, you stop chasing attention. Attention comes to you. The mind does not hold on to boring phrases. It remembers intensity. It remembers rhythm, tone, and emotional energy. It is not the sentence itself that stays with her. It is how she felt when she heard it. Remember this. People might forget the exact words you said, but they never forget how you made them feel. That is not just a saying. It is a truth, especially when it comes to women. She may not remember the exact phrase, but if your words reached her in an unexpected, honest way, that feeling will stay with her for a long time. Imagine another scene. You walk into a dark room full of balloons. Each balloon has the same words written on it, like, "How are you?" or "Just checking in." The air feels heavy because everything is the same. Now imagine you do not add another balloon. Instead, you bring a single, small flame. You light it. Right away, every eye turns toward it. The whole atmosphere changes. That is what genuine energy does when it has a purpose. Many people avoid speaking from a deeper place because they are afraid. They are afraid of not being understood. They are afraid of appearing too intense, too emotional, or too serious. So they play it safe. They send the usual messages. Being polite and safe never leaves an impression. Presence does. Feeling does. When your words create pictures, when they open doors in her mind, she does not just hear them, she experiences them. You stop being just another message on her phone or another voice in the room. You become a feeling she wants to feel again. Not because of the words themselves, but because of the way you spoke them and the person you were when you did. From this moment on, let this be your standard. No more empty talk, no more words just to fill the air. Let every message and every sentence come from something real inside you, not the version you think she wants, not a polished act. Just you. Stay with this because what follows goes even deeper. We are moving into how to create moments with words that do not just catch her attention for a moment, but hold it long after you are gone. These are the words that settle in her heart and echo in her thoughts, the kind that move past logic and live in memory. This is where the true change begins. Think about a simple line with only three words that can quietly change everything. You and me. It sounds small and ordinary, but do not ignore it. These words are not meant to be thrown away. They are meant to be felt. They create a picture, a shared space, and a subtle invitation. Say it softly in your mind. You and me. Its power comes from how simple it is. Sometimes the deepest emotional changes do not come from long speeches. They come from quiet phrases that slide straight into the body without any struggle. When you say you and me, you are not just starting a conversation. You are creating a moment, a shared frame, and a gentle connection that stays. When you speak like this with calm intent and real presence, your words do not disappear. They stay. With you and me, you are not begging. You are not pushing. You are not asking her to decide anything right then. You are simply placing a seed into the space between you. You are offering a soft image and a quiet suggestion. Here is what most men never learn. The female mind, especially the deeper part where attraction forms, does not respond best to long explanations or logical points. It responds to images, emotional signals, strength, and suggestion. Picture this clearly. You are sitting with her. The energy is easy. There is laughter. The mood is relaxed. Instead of saying that you really enjoy talking to her, you lean in just a little, smile slightly, and say that you and she could have dangerously good conversations. That is it. You did not flatter her too much. You did not overdo it. You did not ask for permission. You created a possibility. You painted a small world that did not exist before you spoke. You could even add that you and she would win any argument, especially if you were on the same side. Feel that difference? That is not awkward. That is not forced. That is not some practiced pitch. That is a moment. That is an opening. It is an invitation without any pressure. Now maybe a small voice inside you wonders if that is too bold. What if she does not respond? What if she thinks it is strange? Here is the truth. You are not saying it to get a certain result. You are saying it to leave an impression. Impressions last longer than reactions. They stay in her thoughts even if she does not show it right away. This is not about chasing anyone. It is about standing fully in your own presence. That is real confidence. That is pull. These are the moments that make a woman pause. Not because she feels pushed, but because she senses something unexpected, a possibility she did not plan for. So, when the feeling is right, do not hold back. Do not make yourself smaller. Do not hide in safe silence. Drop the spark. Place the image gently. Say it with calm certainty. Say it easily, but let it carry depth. You and me. It is not a trick. It is a window. It is a path. This is only the start. Those 3 words are more than a phrase. They show how you see yourself. They do not work because they sound clever or because you memorize them. They work because of the energy behind them. When you say them with quiet belief, without hurry or need, they say something deeper, without using extra words. The hidden message is clear. I am not waiting to be chosen. I already know who I am. Remember what Jung said. The deeper mind is drawn to clarity, to symbols, and to grounded confidence. When you speak from that place, you are no longer just someone talking. You become the signal. You become the steady flame in a world full of doubt and hesitation. You become the calm point that people look toward. Let us look at this again. You have probably heard someone ask if you maybe want to hang out sometime. Listen to how that sounds. That is not confidence. That is someone knocking on a door while they already have the key. It is asking for approval instead of owning the space. Now change it. Try saying that you and she should check out that spot downtown. Feel the difference. That is presence. That is not a question. That is direction. That is leadership. If she connects with the feeling behind it, she will follow naturally. No force is needed. Ask yourself this honestly. Do you want to be remembered as the man who guarded his truth and was always safe? Or do you want to be the one who said one unforgettable thing that made her feel something real? Energy always tells the story. You can say all the right words, but if you say them hoping they work, they fail. But when you speak knowing your presence is enough, everything changes. That is when she tilts her head a little. That is when she looks at you differently and thinks you are not like the others. It is not about being louder. It is about being deeper. It is not about being aggressive. It is about being centered. That is real strength. It does not shout. It does not beg. It stands steady and calm. It speaks with quiet certainty that naturally draws people in. So stop asking to be invited. Start being the invitation. When you stop trying to prove your worth and instead speak as someone who already knows it, the energy shifts completely. That is when you stop being overlooked. That is when you stop fading into the background. That is when you start being felt, not just in the moment, but long after it ends. Now we move into timing. This is the part where many men miss out, not because they said the wrong words, but because they said them at the wrong time. Timing matters more than most people realize. When you learn how to speak the truth without pressure, you will notice how differently she listens. Stay present here because this part is about being precise. It is about emotional accuracy. Understand this clearly. Your energy enters the room before your words ever do. You can say the perfect line, but if your tone sounds worried, if your timing feels rushed, or if your body language asks for approval, it will not work. That is the part people avoid facing because it means you cannot hide behind clever phrases. It means your whole being speaks, not just your mouth. You could say, "you and me," 100 times, but if your eyes look away, or if your voice shakes, it will not work. Not because the words are wrong, but because the energy does not match. Imagine two men. One says that they would make a dangerous team, but his arms are crossed tight and his voice sounds thin. The other man says the exact same words with an open posture, steady eye contact, and a relaxed voice that shows he is okay either way. With or without her response, he is complete. Same words, totally different impact. You already know which one stays in her memory. Quiet confidence is rare, and that is why it is powerful. Most people only know how to perform, but energy does not lie. It shows whether you are standing in strength or acting out of need. No matter how you look or how smooth you sound, the truth underneath shows itself. Real strength comes from presence and stillness. Look at her directly, not like you want something, but like you are simply meeting her there. Sit or stand comfortably. Not like you are asking for approval, but like you already know your value. That stillness you feel when you stop rushing is your quiet power. Let it surround your words. When you say something meaningful, stop. Let there be silence. Let the moment breathe. That pause is where the words settle inside her. We should call this alignment. It is when your inner world matches what you show on the outside. When those two things line up, she does not just hear you, she feels you. That is the difference between words that vanish and words that stay. Think about timing again. When do you speak? Say it too early and it feels like pressure. Say it too late and the moment is gone. Say it at the right moment and you wake up her attention. A grounded man does not speak to impress. He waits for the opening. In a real connection, that opening is everything. You could have the best energy and the most meaningful words, but if you say, "you and me," too soon, it feels heavy. Pressure kills attraction instantly. The right moment is when the energy is flowing and the mood is light. That is when you place it gently, like it belongs there. Imagine she is talking about a place she loves. You smile and say that you and she should check that out to see if it is actually good. That is it, no pressure, just a picture in her mind. You did not ask, you stated it calmly, then you let it go. You did not worry about the result. You trusted the seed to grow, that is attraction. Most men fail here because they hold on too tightly. They want a reaction right away. But a man who knows his worth says the line and allows space. He knows that what is real does not need to be forced. Sometimes she will not feel it right away. Maybe she notices it later when she is alone. Suddenly the words come back to her, and without trying she smiles. She feels something change. That is meaning. That is alignment. The most powerful part is that if she truly feels it, you will not need to repeat yourself or chase her. Your words will already be echoing inside her. A man who speaks this way becomes unforgettable. He knows when to speak and when to step back. He understands that real impact comes from letting go. So do not chase reactions. Speak like a man who knows his words have weight. Speak from a place where you do not need her to agree because the truth was enough. Now we look at something most people miss. The silence that follows. The moment right after you speak. If you say the phrase and then look at her face hoping for a smile, the power goes away. It says you need her to tell you that you did a good job. But that was not why you spoke. You said it because it was honest. The quiet afterward is full. It is the space where your words can land. Silence is not a gap to fill. It is a container. Confident men know how to let silence work. The most meaningful moments often come with pauses. That pause carries truth. When you rush to fill it, you stop the process. So when you say something real, let the silence stand. Your calm afterward tells her you trust what you said. Most men are uncomfortable with silence because it makes them anxious. but silence makes the moment deeper. A grounded man knows that stillness is authority. That quality is felt right away. When you allow space, you are giving her room to feel. Feeling is where attraction grows. This is why restraint matters. Anyone can talk, but very few can talk and then stop. The man who can do that leaves a mark. He does not crowd the moment. That patience shows strength and shows that he is comfortable with himself. That comfort creates a safe space where curiosity can grow. When you stop trying to control her reaction, she begins to look at her own feelings. She thinks about the moment on her own. Each time she does, the feeling gets deeper. That is how a single line becomes a memory. It is not about the words alone. It is about how you gave them and your willingness to let them stand. When your words come from a real place, they do not need to be defended. Let the moment breathe. Let her feel what you said. When you trust the space you create, you show her a man who does not need to chase or convince. You show her a man who knows that what is real will move in its own time. That kind of man does not just get heard, he gets remembered.